From Bye Bye Birdie to the Flintstones and, of course, co-starring with Elvis in Viva Las Vegas, Ann-Margret has had an incredibly steady career in Hollywood, spanning 6 decades.
For 60 years, Ann-Margret remained silent about Elvis Presley. But in 2025, she finally did speak out. She shared a deathbed vow that they exchanged in 1964. A hidden letter that was handed to him 3 weeks before he passed away, and whispers his father said at the funeral that turned everything upside down. The world believed they knew the Elvis narrative. They were mistaken. What she's revealing now about their secret love affair is redrawing the history of Hollywood. And others hope she'd never open her mouth. Ann-Margret was born on April 28, 1941, in a small, freezing Swedish village in northern Sweden named Valljaun. It was situated so near the Arctic Circle that winter lasted 8 months and temperatures hit -40. Her family resided in a one-room wooden hut with no water or electricity. They had to venture outdoors in snow just to go to the toilet. The nearest doctor was 50 miles away, and the only means of traveling there during winter was by horse-drawn sleigh. Her father, Carl Gustav Olsson, was employed in a wood mill and earned only 2 kroner per day, roughly $12 equivalent today. Everyone in the village contributed whatever little they had. Clothing was handed over from one family to another, and Margaret wore hand-me-downs from at least 3 other children. In 1946, when she was only 5 years old, she fell terribly ill. Pneumonia struck her so severely she was unconscious for 6 days with a 104 degrees fever. Her lips blued. She was hardly able to breathe. There was no hospital within miles, so her mother, Anna, tried everything she could at home. Pine needle tea, hot stones wrapped in cloth, even alcohol rubs. For 3 weeks, her mother remained awake, resting only briefly at a time. On day 19, the fever finally subsided. However, Ann-Margret couldn't walk for another month. Her mother had to carry her everywhere until she gradually regained her strength. That same year, something unexpected occurred. At a wedding in the village, 6-year-old Ann-Margret began singing out of the blue. Her voice was so powerful and clear that everyone in the room fell silent. People claimed she sounded like a renowned opera singer. They even called her Little Caruso. The news got around quickly. Within 6 months, she was being invited to sing at 47 functions, weddings, funerals, church gatherings. She earned up to 5 kroner per performance. Her mother created all her costumes by hand out of scrap materials. Some took 40 hours to stitch. She had learned more than 200 songs by heart, without learning any of them by reading music by the time she was 7. But it wasn't easy in those first years. In 1942, when Ann-Margret was only 14 months old, her dad left Sweden by himself to go to work in America. He wound up in Chicago, making $18 a week for Johnson Electrical. He took only 50 kroner, maybe $300 today, and no means of communicating with them. Due to the war, there was slow mail, and he wrote only 3 letters in 4 years. Her mother Anna raised her by herself, sewing uniforms for 12 hours every day for 1 krona and struggling through the harsh winters. She sold even her husband's accordion and hunting rifle once in order to purchase fuel and bread one winter. In 1946, Carl at last sent for them. Ann-Margret and her mother traveled across the Atlantic aboard the SS Gripsholm. It was an 11-day trip. The ship was overcrowded with 1,547 passengers, lots of them refugees and children who survived concentration camps. The ocean was choppy, the rooms were full, and 30-foot waves crashed against the ship during a hurricane. Radar malfunctioned, and a compass had to be used to maintain a course. Ann-Margret, ill with seasickness, nevertheless sang songs in the dining room. Someone clapped and paid her $47 in tips. They arrived in New York on November 18, 1946. Her father was there to greet her. The same day, he took her to watch the Rockets in Radio City Music Hall. Ann-Margret glanced up at the stage and said to him, "That's what I want to do." They relocated to Wilmette, Illinois, and matters did not improve. She did not speak English and was ridiculed for her accent. Children laughed at her. She ate alone at lunchtime for months. In order to learn English, she imitated the voices of the radio announcers for hours until her throat ached. In 1949, she became a U.S. citizen. That same year, at age 8, she started piano lessons. After only 3 weeks, she wrote her first song. Her teacher was shocked and got her a paid performance at church where she earned $5. Her mother made her a blue velvet dress, sewing late at night to get it ready. Over 200 people showed up. In 1950, disaster hit again. Her dad injured his back on the job and couldn't move for 8 months. He received only $23 per week in disability. Her mom took a job as a receptionist at a funeral parlor for $32 per week. Their rent was $45. To assist, Ann-Margret babysat for 50 cents per night. She still wanted to dance, but her parents forbade it. They couldn't even afford it. She practiced secretly in a cracked mirror she purchased for $25. She even observed lessons by peeking through a dance studio window and learning each step. Her mother discovered her treaded shoes and accused her. It became their first authentic fight. During the summer of 1953, she did something daring. She secretly paid $2 to compete in the Lake County Fair talent contest. She was 12. Her routine was burlesque, starred Gypsy Rose Lee-inspired, complete with hip swivels, fluttering fans. She used a red church dress, though she had made it herself. The audience of 500 gasped. Some clapped, others were outraged. She took first prize and $10, roughly $110 today. A paper printed the headline, "Swedish Girl Shocks Fair Crowd." Overnight, everyone knew her name. She started a singing group, the Subtle Tones, with 3 friends in her senior year at New Trier High School in 1957. They played at school dances and could draw 300 students. Her hair flips and hip twists became famous. They charged $15 per show, which they divided 4 ways, and she didn't let her parents know she took $3.75 home. Their fame spread, and they became booked at a Chicago club and even offered a chance in Las Vegas. Her solo number of Rock Around the Clock that spring at the talent show was so disruptive that the crowd screamed so loudly the principal had to quiet them down. One classmate, actor Bruce Dern, later stated she hypnotized the entire room. She was elected most likely to be famous. In 1960, after just 1 year then she went off to Northwestern University and shocked everyone again. She quit school and went with her group to Vegas for a gig that never materialized. Her friends returned to school, and Margaret did not. With barely $50 in her pocket, she hitched to Los Angeles. Her parents were devastated. They had scrimped for years to put her through college. Her father, who held 2 jobs to bring the family to America, couldn't believe she threw it all away. She had been taking speech and drama. Everyone expected her to play it safe. But something extraordinary happened. She landed a singing gig in a tough Vegas lounge. One night, comedian George Burns happened to see her. He placed her on his Christmas show at the Sahara. That resulted in a contract with RCA Records. Lost Love, her debut song, failed. It didn't make it onto any charts. She was criticized as sounding too mature and sexual for a mere 19-year-old. RCA wanted to let her go, but then George Burns came to her defense and begged RCA to give her one more chance. In 1961, she appeared in her first film, Pocket Full of Miracles. But behind the scenes, there was turmoil. She clashed with B. Davis, who was attempting to revive her career. When Glenn Ford told her she had gotten the role with his help, she lost it, calling him names. Davis referred to Ann-Margret as an upstart. They fought over dressing rooms. The director, Frank Capra, was caught in the middle. It was pandemonium. Then April 9th, 1962, arrived. At the Oscars, Ann-Margret sang Bachelor in Paradise. She took what was to be a standard performance and turned it into a sizzling, sensual dance routine that had the entire room sitting up. TV censors were taken aback, but someone else had been paying attention. Elvis Presley's manager. Shortly thereafter, she was offered the co-starring role in Viva Las Vegas. That single television performance changed her life. It started her film career and was followed by one of the most publicized romances in Hollywood history. In 1962, Ann-Margret recorded a song titled "I Just Don't Understand" for her album On the Way Up. What no one knew was that this song would quietly revolutionize music history forever. It was documented on May 9th, 1961 in Nashville at RCA Studio B. The guitar was distorted in an unheard way. It occurred by accident. An engineer oversteered the equipment, but instead of repairing it, they left it in place. The fuzzy tone was produced by a homemade pedal constructed by Red Rhodes and played by Billy Strange. This raw, hard-hitting sound surprised the music world. It didn't sound polished, and that was precisely why it seemed so alive. The song burst onto the Billboard Hot 100 at number 17, Cashbox number 15, and Record World number 10. Time magazine stated she was the type of singer who had the ability to bring a song to life. Billboard rated her album 4 stars and referred to her voice as sexy and playful. That single guitar mishap would one day inspire groups such as the Beatles, who recorded the song a year later in 1963. But that same year, 1963, her experience behind the camera was not as smooth. During the filming of Bye Bye Birdie, she was forced to film a clothes-changing scene 17 times. Her physical body was pushed to the limit. She lost 10 pounds just struggling to keep up. The costumes continued to fall apart while doing the fast dancing, and one more time was constantly yelled by the director. The set was also unsafe. They had her dancing on a treadmill that moved 20 feet in the air, with wind machines blowing directly at her. She was scared and tired, but she persevered. When the film eventually opened at Radio City Music Hall, it grossed more in 1 week